So recently, I, 30F, made a post on social media about the person whom I had appointed as the godmother to my child, and that has made my mom and my sister very upset. I just want to know if I'm the bad guy here or if they are the ones overreacting. For context, my mom and my sister Monica, 26F, have always been one unit and I've never gotten along well with them. But we still put in the effort to appear to be a happy family, at least until my wedding, 4 years back. Obviously, my mom and my sister had been invited, but for some reason, Monica decided to try and make a move on my husband during the reception, right in front of me. We were speaking to our cousins, and she was standing along with them, openly trying to flirt with my husband, and even though he was not even responding, she just didn't stop. For the record, before my husband and I got together, he had actually met Monica on a dating app. But they had only been out on a couple of dates before it fizzled out, so it wasn't serious. And it was almost a year after that he and I finally met. For some reason, she kept bringing that up, as if it was a huge deal, even though before the wedding, she hadn't ever made a thing out of it, and I am guessing it was for attention or just to annoy me. I could tell that my husband was getting uncomfortable and so was everybody else, so I decided to address it and totally humiliated her by calling her out on it. I told her that she needed to stop hitting on my husband. It made her look desperate and pathetic, and I was a bit loud about it. So people around us also heard me, not just our cousins. Obviously, she was very embarrassed after that and why she did not create any drama that day, but later that week, she reached out to me and told me that she was still waiting for an apology for what I had done. I thought she had some guts to ask me to apologize to her after she had been trying to make a move on my husband at my wedding. We got into a huge fight, we ended up cussing at each other on the phone that day and since then, we haven't spoken. Neither of us is any worse off for it either, but my mom has been trying to get us to talk to each other for the past 4 years. She has always insisted that I should be the one to make amends first since I'm older and more mature, and even though Monica had made a dumb little mistake, she knows that she feels bad about it. All I have ever had to say about this is that if she genuinely feels bad, she can reach out to me and apologize and then I'll think about whether I really want to forgive her or not, but there is no way I'm reaching out to her first. Personally, I think it's fair enough. Anyway, so far, my mother had been trying to fix things, but a couple of weeks ago, she decided to show up at my baby shower and threw a tantrum because I hadn't invited my sister and neither had I asked her to plan the event for me. I don't know why she would even expect me to do that because my sister is not very good at her job. She runs an event management business that's funded by my mom since my mom is a pretty successful businesswoman herself, and she can afford to throw good money after bad. That's her personal choice, but I don't want to do that and it's not like I had never given Monica a chance. I had asked her to plan my bridal shower earlier, but it had been such a boring and bland looking event, that I decided never to ask her again. And on top of that, we are not even on speaking terms, so why would I even consider her for the job? It didn't make sense. But for months, my mother had been bugging me to let my sister organize my baby shower since that would give us an opportunity to bond again. Just to get her off my back, I had told her that I would think about it, but then, when she found out that I was planning the whole thing myself and I was not going to give Monica a chance, she lost it at me and told me that I was being too hard on her by snubbing her and refusing to even support her business. I was very blunt with my mom and I told her that I didn't think that she was very good at her job and my mom told me that she would not attend the event if I didn't let Monica plan it, so that's what happened. I just wish that she had actually stuck to her words and not attended the event, but then, both of them showed up at my door on the day of. My mom started demanding that I apologize to Monica for how I had humiliated her at the wedding because even though 4 years had passed, she hadn't been able to live down that embarrassment and that she deserved an apology. At first, obviously, I refused to apologize, but then, they said that they would not leave and would embarrass me the same way if I didn't apologize. So I just had to suck it up and do it because that day, I had a lot of coworkers over too and I didn't want to be embarrassed in front of them. I gritted my teeth and just got it over with and after I apologized to Monica, the smug look on her face made me want to slap her, but, thankfully, they left right afterward. It was just an ego play to make me feel bad about myself and even though it's been close to 2 months since then, I still haven't forgotten. And that's what the post on social media about my daughter's godmother was all about. Obviously, for the past 2 months, I haven't been in touch with my mother either, and she wasn't present for the childbirth, nor did she congratulate me after that. She's obviously not my child's grandmother, not in any sense of the word. But the one person who has been there for us all along was my stepmom. So, my parents got divorced when I was around 7 years old and when I was 12, my dad remarried and I met Nicole. She's been more of a friend than a maternal figure for me and ever since my dad passed away 3 years ago, she and I have become pretty close because I always got along better with my dad and I think we really understand each other. Even earlier, She and I used to get along well, but we're not as close as we are now. Our relationship always got on my mom's nerves because she hated Nicole, and by extension, of course, Monica hated Nicole too. It never even made any sense to me because it's not like she had ruined my parents' marriage. My dad didn't even know her when my parents got divorced. It's just that by the time my dad had started dating Nicole, my mom had realized that she didn't want to let go of my father and had started trying to get him back, but by then, it was too late and he was serious about Nicole. So it never ended up working out for them, and my dad married Nicole and stayed with her until he passed away. And my mom and sister have never forgiven her for that, even though it's not even her fault. So of course, when I made that post announcing Nicole to be my child's godmother and favorite grandmother, my mom and Monica lost it. I hadn't blocked either of them anywhere until recently because I think it's childish and immature, but a couple of days back, I had to. A day after I made that post, my mom started bombarding my phone with calls and texts, telling me to take it down immediately. Because there was no way she was going to allow Nicole to be referred to as the grandmother or godmother, and that my decision to post something like this was really petty and spiteful. She accused me of using my child as a weapon to make her feel bad and started calling me every derogatory name that she could think of. Naturally, I had to block her eventually because I couldn't tolerate this. I don't even think that it's all out of spite. I really do appreciate Nicole and everything that she has done for us so far. She has been there for me more than my own mom, and ever since the baby was born, she has been coming over every day to help us out. She has shown more of an interest in me and my life than my mom has. And I will admit that I made that post out of spite, but I definitely did not declare her to be my favorite grandmother or godmother out of spite. That was genuine, just the act of posting in public with a bit petty and spiteful, but I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I felt like getting back at Monica and my mom in some way for making me apologize to them at my baby shower, because even now, when I think about it, it just really makes me mad. I've blocked my mom, but Monica texted me later on, saying that what I'm doing is disgusting because just to hurt my mom, I'm going out of my way to make such posts. She said that it's not just disrespectful to our mother, it's also disrespectful to Nicole, and proves that I don't really care for anyone apart from myself because I'm just a narcissist and all that matters to me is my revenge and spitefulness, all the negative stuff like that. And now, since this was coming from Monica of all people, I'm really stuck wondering if I did the right thing at all. Ida, for declaring my stepmom to be my child's favorite grandmother and godmother on social media just to rub it in my mom's face. Edit, I didn't think that it was relevant to the story, but as far as I have been told, my parents mutually decided to get a divorce. They had been fighting a lot when they were together, and it got to the point where it was affecting both my sister and me. So one day, they just sat us down and told us that both of them had decided that it would be better for them to live separately, and after that, they had shared custody of us, so we spent our time with them equally, but even then, my sister preferred my mom and I preferred my dad. It was around 2 years after the divorce that my mom started telling us that she was planning on getting back together with our father, and they had even tried couples counseling for a while, but by then, my dad had moved on emotionally and eventually, they ended their relationship once more. My mom never stopped talking about him, though, and about a year after that, my dad met Nicole through his friends, and the rest is history. I guess that's why my mom can't stand her, because she thought that she had actually had a chance and she thinks Nicole is the one who blew it for her, but I don't think that's the case. Update 1. I spoke to Nicole about everything, since it had really been weighing on me. I could deal with the fact that Monica and my mom did not approve of what I had done. They didn't like the post. Of course they didn't, they weren't supposed to either. But then, I realized that Monica did have a point. I was being sort of disrespectful to Nicole as well because I was posting something related to her, just to rub it in my mom's face. And I didn't want to be that kind of person. I don't want to use her for something like this. I made the post about 5 days back, and last evening, when she had come over and we had put my daughter down for a nap, I decided to come clean to her. I told her about the post, the messages from my mom and my sister, and how I had been feeling terrible about all of this. I actually even ended up crying, but that's probably because I've been a lot more emotional than usual lately. Anyway, she comforted me. She told me that she didn't mind, and she confided in me that she actually felt really happy that I had chosen her to be the godmother, and also referred to her as the favorite grandma on social media, just to rub it in my mom's face. She told me that she had never spoken about it because she did not want to be petty, and neither did she want to be the kind of person to try and turn me against my own mother, but she hated my mom too. Which, of course, she did, because my mom had been nothing but terrible to her and had done a great job at making life difficult for all of us by turning Monica into a mini-her and teaching her to treat Nicole as disrespectfully as she possibly could. It used to be a huge trouble for all of us because back when my dad was still alive and we were kids, Monica and I used to spend half of the month with my father, and she would be a total nightmare to deal with around Nicole. But Nicole never lost her patience with my sister, because she knew that it was my mom who was pulling the strings behind the scenes. And getting mad at Monica, berating her or treating her badly just to get back at the kid, would only lead to more drama. It's not like she was fine with having Monica walk all over her all the time, but she herself never said anything about it. She let me and my dad deal with it because she knew that if she tried to do something about it, my mom would lose her mind and start using that against my dad. Apparently, my father had confided in her that he was afraid that my mother was teaching Monica to be horrible to Nicole on purpose, so she would get baited into lashing out at the kid, and then, my mom would be able to use that to get full custody or something. And when I finally thought about it, it actually sounded like a pretty reasonable explanation. I also wouldn't put it past my mother. She's pretty clever, and I'm sure that could have been part of her plan, but thankfully, even though Monica was a nightmare to deal with, Nicole never let it get to her. She kept her cool, and it helped that my father and I were always trying to make it better for her. However, she hated my mother just as much as my mom hated her. She just never spoke about it. Hearing her speak about it so openly and honestly made me feel a lot better, and I realized that at the end of the day, we are all humans. My being petty or spiteful was completely natural, especially after how horribly my mom and my sister had treated me. For years, I have tried to pretend that everything is fine and that we are one happy family just so that our drama doesn't go public, because according to my mom, that would be the biggest nightmare for the family, other people getting to know that all is not fine. But I don't really care about what other people think anymore, and I'm pretty sure that if she really didn't want other people to think that she doesn't exactly get along well with her eldest daughter, then she probably should have treated me better and made an effort to get along with me instead of forcing me to pretend like everything was fine for ages. But whatever, I'm done now. Speaking to Nicole about this was pretty freeing for me, and I feel a lot better now. I don't feel guilty about this stuff anymore because clearly, she couldn't care less about me making that post, and since she dislikes my mom and Monica just as much as I do, I think she's fine with me using that post to rub it in their faces. Besides, as I had already mentioned in my original post, it was just the act of making that post that was for sure. But whatever I said, I really do mean it. So now, I'm not gonna allow my mom or my sister to make me feel guilty about this anymore. I've also blocked both of them everywhere because, like a lot of you guys brought up in the comments, it's not immature or childish to block people if they're getting on your last nerve and making life difficult for you. I've already spent way too many years focusing on how they feel and trying to be a good daughter. I can't do that anymore. Right now, my only priority is being a good wife, and even more important than that, being a good mother. Update 2. So since it has been 2 weeks since my mom and Monica started trying to contact me, and I blocked them, they decided to go with this and made a really long and emotionally manipulative Facebook post against me. It's quite ironic how for years, I was not pushed by my mother to keep quiet and pretend like everything was fine in our family so that nobody else would ever find out that we didn't exactly have a great relationship with each other and we would be able to keep up appearances. But now that her younger daughter has made this post, she has nothing to say and is pretending like this has greatly affected her in the comment section of her post. And that post was just disgustingly misleading, full of half-truths designed to make me look like the bad guy. Monica literally started off by telling people that she was really sorry that she was having to put this out on a public platform, but she wanted to express how disappointed she was in my behavior because, for the past many years, my mom has been so supportive of me, but I decided to make a post for my stepmom instead. She announced that she has had her differences with me since I'm jealous of her entrepreneurship, and that's why I've never supported her, because I've always felt like my mom should have invested in me instead of her. She claimed that she had even been ready to overlook that, but then I stole her boyfriend from her out of jealousy and got married to him. And even then she didn't say anything. Another lie, but she can't stand the fact that I have insulted our mom now. Of course, she can't. Our mom is the only reason she even has a business right now, because I'm pretty sure that anybody who has worked with her in the past will never work with her again, since she has a tendency to ignore everything that her clients want and go her own way and then expect them to pay for it. At least that's what she did with me during my bridal shower. It's also very surprising that my mom is completely fine with this post on social media where Monica is taking the family drama to the rest of the family for their judgment. She was all about not airing dirty laundry in public in the past, but I guess that rule was just for me and not for Monica. Not surprised at all about that. Anyway, of course, I couldn't see that post for myself because I've blocked them, so a couple of members of my family had to send it to me before I could finally read it. And naturally, my blood boiled when I went through that post because you guys might have noticed, it was all full of BS. I don't even understand how my sister typed all of that out, went through it, and decided that it was completely good to go and she would easily get away with posting something like that. She should have known that she wouldn't, because at some point, I would definitely find that post and I would not hesitate in pointing out all the rubbish that she had said about me. After going through that post, I spoke to my husband, and obviously he was just as annoyed as I was. After a couple of minutes, I decided that I was not going to let this slide and I started typing out my own post. I pointed out all the life that she had told me, like how she had said that I was jealous of her because my mother had invested in her business and hadn't done anything to support me, and according to her, it was because she deserved it more, but in my opinion, it was just because she kept quitting jobs every now and then and my mom's decision to fund her business was just charity. It wasn't because Monica had any real skills. In fact, it was quite the opposite. It was because she was never going to be good at anything that my mom decided to give her a handout. And I was not jealous of her, I just didn't support her and ask her to organize events for me because she was terrible at what she did. I also mentioned how I hadn't stolen her boyfriend to get back at her, because my husband had never even been her boyfriend. They had just been out on a couple of dates before he met me and by the time we got together, they hadn't even been speaking to each other. So all the ridiculous accusations that she had against me were nothing but a bunch of lies. Once I had addressed it in my post, I also talked about how my mother and Monica had shown up at my baby shower, the kind of drama that they had created, and forced me to apologize so that I wouldn't end up getting embarrassed in front of my coworkers. After that, my mom hadn't even bothered to be there for me when I went into labor, nor had she even reached out to me to congratulate me. She literally hadn't even met my daughter, but Nicole had done all of that and even more. So of course I was going to put a post appreciating her if I wanted to. They had no right to try and stop me. If they felt attacked by their post, they probably needed to introspect instead of trying to make themselves out to be the victims. I also called out my mom for being just an overall terrible person, because not a lot of people knew how vindictive she had been after my dad got remarried. After getting the green light from Nicole, I talked about how my mother had manipulated Monica into misbehaving with Nicole, just to create trouble for my dad so that he wouldn't end up being happy with his new wife. That's how jealous and awful she had always been, so obviously not surprising that I don't want anything to do with that woman anymore. It was brutal, but I think it was necessary and I felt much better after making that post. Of course, after I made that post, my phone was flooded with calls and texts from people from the family. The rest of my family is not clueless. They have had some clue over the years that there has been tension between me and my mom and my sister, and I. It's become increasingly evident over the past couple of years since we were very, very cold to each other at family events, in spite of my mother trying her best to make it look like there was nothing wrong with our relationship. The posts that we made just confirmed what everybody had already been guessing, that there was a lot of drama in our family that we have been trying to cover up for a really long time. After I made my post, people started telling me that they were glad that I had taken a stand for myself. They also said that they were glad that I had bothered to clarify because the post that my sister had made had seemed quite fishy, which is why nobody from the family had supported her. The way she had said it made me sound really jealous and petty. It just didn't sit right with everyone else because that's not what their experience with me has been. So they had already had their reservations about believing whatever Monica had said in her post, and after my post, they were sure that they did not want to trust her. And because my post had basically just exposed both my mother and Monica, my family told me that they were definitely going to be cutting ties with them. A lot of my cousins who were close to me had already stopped speaking to Monica after the incident at the wedding, and now, even more, people are going to start cutting them out of their lives. They still haven't taken the post down, though, even though there have been a lot of people in the comments section who have taken a stand for me and have called them out for all the bluffing. But it doesn't matter, they can keep that post up. I know that people support me and now that they know the truth, I feel much better about everything. They kind of played themselves here because I'm sure that they had believed that I would not respond to them and would just let it slide like always, but this totally backfired and now, they are the ones getting ostracized. My husband, I, and obviously, Nicole, feel really vindicated that this is happening right now. After the way they have treated us so horribly for so many years, I'm now going to sit back and watch the drama unfold and see what else they do to try and villainize me now. Update 3. Hello. So it's been 3 weeks since my last update, and a couple of days after I made my post, I guess Monica finally saw some sense and decided to take her post down. But just because she took her down, she and my mother reached my house and started demanding that I take mine down too because the things that I said about them were way worse than what they had said about me. I told him that at least whatever I had said was the truth while they had just tried to make me look like the bad guy and push a false narrative so that the family would turn against me. I made it very clear to them that I was not taking that down and I asked them to get off my property after informing them of my decision. Monica tried to leave, but my mom refused, and she started screaming at me. I wasn't having that, so I just slammed the door shut in her face and then she started pounding on the door like crazy. I was actually a bit scared because she was behaving unhinged and I was home alone with my baby at the time since my husband was at work. Nicole was also down sick, so I had no other option but to call the cops and have them escorted off my property. I decided to file a report against them too, just so that they take this as a warning. I know that what they did was not really that bad, so they're probably not gonna get charges filed against them, or anything more than a formal warning, but even then, it's going to be something at least. And after I told my husband and Nicole about what I did, they told me that I had done the right thing, since they had always taken my silence for my weakness, constantly just assuming that I would always let things slide. In the past, I actually had done that, but it was only out of respect for whatever my mother had said, because at least we had some sort of a relationship, no matter how weak or fragile. But now, that bond has been severed, and I don't owe them anything, especially if they're going to disrupt the peace of my home. The way they were behaving, it had bothered my baby as well, and I'm not gonna have that. Pressing charges against them was just my way of sending a message, and I hope that they will take this seriously, because otherwise, I'll have to file a restraining order against both of them so they never show up here again. It might sound extreme, but I'm determined to make sure that they have nothing to do with my family after this. Now that I'm a mother, there's nothing more important than providing my daughter with a peaceful and happy life, and if they are not going to let that happen, I'm not gonna let them get away with it either. But anyway, that's for the future. Right now things are great apart from the little hiccup that took place last week.